Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Introduction to Multimodality in Discourse Analysis. Multimodality in Discourse Analysis explores how multiple forms of communication, like text, images, sounds, and spatial arrangements, work together to convey meaning. This approach goes beyond traditional linguistic analysis by considering various semiotic resources. Rooted in systemic functional linguistics from the late 20th century, multimodal analysis evolved with the rise of digital technology and was further developed by influential works from Kress and Van Leeuwen in the early 2000s. 1. Multimodality. Multimodality in discourse analysis refers to the study of communication that occurs through multiple modes or channels beyond just text. This involves understanding how different elements like images, sounds, gestures, and spatial arrangements combine with written or spoken language to create meaning. 1. Key aspects of multimodality. Multiple modes of communication. Multimodality emphasizes that communication often happens through multiple channels simultaneously, like a combination of text and visuals in a magazine article or video with accompanying audio. Interplay of modes. The different modes are not isolated. They interact to create richer and more nuanced meanings. For example, gestures can enhance spoken language, or images can complement or contradict the accompanying text. Contextual understanding. Multimodal analysis considers the context in which communication occurs. The setting, audience, and purpose all influence how different modes are used and interpreted. Dynamic and evolving nature. With advancements in technology and media, new forms of multimodal communication continue to evolve. Examples include social media posts that blend text, images, emojis, and videos. 2. Applications in discourse analysis. Media and advertising. Multimodal analysis is widely used to understand how advertising campaigns use images, music, and text to convey messages and persuade consumers. Digital communication. Online platforms often combine text, images, video, and hyperlinks, requiring a multimodal approach to analyze how these elements interact. Educational materials. Analyzing textbooks, instructional videos, and other educational resources can reveal how different modes are used to enhance learning. Political communication. Understanding political campaigns requires analyzing speeches, social media posts, and visual symbols, as they work together to influence public opinion. 3. Challenges. Complexity. Analyzing multiple modes together is more complex than analyzing text alone, as it requires different analytical frameworks. Subjectivity. Interpretation of visual and audio elements can be subjective, necessitating a careful and consistent approach. Technological requirements. Some modes, like video or audio, require specialized tools and skills to analyze effectively. Multimodality expands the understanding of communication by acknowledging the diverse ways in which meaning is constructed. It provides a comprehensive framework for analyzing how different communicative modes interact to shape discourse across various contexts, from traditional media to digital platforms. 2. Discourse analysis and multimodality. Multimodality in discourse analysis explores how communication is constructed and conveyed using multiple modes beyond traditional linguistic analysis. It recognizes that in addition to spoken or written language, various semiotic resources like images, sounds, gestures, spatial layouts, and more play a significant role in meaning-making. 1. Key components of multimodality in discourse analysis. Multiple semiotic modes. Beyond text, other semiotic resources such as images, videos, gestures, typography, and spatial arrangements contribute to meaning. For example, a political speech may include spoken words, visual symbols, and audience reactions, all conveying nuanced messages. Intermodality. This concept refers to how different modes interact and complement each other. For instance, an educational video combines visual illustrations with spoken explanations, where each mode reinforces and expands the content. Contextual influence. Multimodal discourse analysis considers how the context affects the interpretation of each mode. This includes factors such as the audience, cultural background, and medium of communication. Dynamic relationships. Modes can have varying importance and interact dynamically within a given context. For example, in a film, the visual elements might carry more weight than the dialogues. 2. Applications of multimodal discourse analysis. Media studies. Analyses of movies, TV shows, news broadcasts, and advertisements involve understanding how visual and auditory elements combine with language to convey specific messages. Digital communication. Social media posts, websites, and digital advertising often blend text, images, videos, emojis, and hyperlinks, making them rich subjects for multimodal analysis. Education. Examining textbooks, instructional videos, and educational games can reveal how various modes work together to facilitate learning. Political communication. Campaigns, speeches, and public appearances use a range of modes to persuade and inform, making them ideal for multimodal analysis. 3. Challenges in multimodal discourse analysis. Complexity. The analysis requires expertise in different semiotic modes, which can be challenging to master simultaneously. Subjectivity and interpretation. Understanding how modes work together can be subjective, leading to different interpretations of the same material. Technical requirements. Some modes, like video or sound, require specialized tools and skills for effective analysis. Multimodal discourse analysis is a powerful tool for understanding contemporary communication. By considering the interplay of multiple modes, it offers a comprehensive approach to analyzing how meaning is constructed in various contexts, from media and education to politics and beyond. 3. Historical context. 1. Origins and evolution. Multimodal discourse analysis has its origins in systemic functional linguistics, SFL, a theory developed by M.A.K. Halliday in the late 20th century. Halliday's theories emphasize the social functions of language, exploring how linguistic structures are used to construct meaning within particular contexts. Halliday's work laid the foundation for understanding language as one aspect of meaning-making in human communication. His approach acknowledged that other modes, such as images and sounds, could also convey meaning in a similar structured way. This conceptual framework of seeing communication as a semiotic process, where meaning is constructed through different signs and symbols, provided the theoretical underpinnings for the development of multimodal discourse analysis. A. Evolution of multimodal discourse analysis. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, scholars began expanding upon Halliday's theories to include the analysis of multiple modes of communication beyond spoken and written language. Key figures in the development of multimodal discourse analysis include Gunther Kress and Theo van Leeuwen, who significantly influenced the field with their works, such as Reading Images, The Grammar of Visual Design. They developed frameworks that allowed for the systematic analysis of visual communication, treating images and other modes as semiotic resources that could be read and interpreted. B. Major influences. Integration of various modes. The evolution of multimodal discourse analysis involved integrating visual, auditory, and gestural modes into the analysis of meaning-making processes. This marked a significant shift from focusing solely on language to considering the entire communicative event. Rise of digital media. The proliferation of digital media in the early 2000s provided a practical impetus for this shift. The blending of text, images, videos, and other interactive elements in online communication necessitated a framework that could handle such multimodal complexity. The development of multimodal discourse analysis was driven by the need to understand communication in its full complexity, considering all semiotic modes, not just language. Building on Halliday's theories, scholars like Kress and van Leeuwen established foundational frameworks that enabled researchers to analyze the interplay of different modes in creating meaning. This evolution was also shaped by the emergence of digital media, which brought to the forefront the importance of studying multimodality. 2. Influence of digital technology. The rise of digital technology in the early 2000s significantly influenced the evolution of multimodal discourse analysis. As online platforms and multimedia texts became more prevalent, they brought new forms of communication that were inherently multimodal. Text, images, videos, and audio were now integrated into single communication pieces, such as websites, blogs, social media posts, and video content. Proliferation of online communication. The Internet opened up new channels of communication that blurred the lines between different modes. Text, images, hyperlinks, and videos often existed together, requiring a comprehensive approach to understand the interplay of these modes. Social media and multimodality. Social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter encourage users to communicate through a combination of text, images, videos, and emojis. These platforms required researchers to adapt traditional discourse analysis methods to account for this new multimodal landscape. Digital storytelling. The rise of multimedia platforms allowed for the creation of digital stories that integrated different modes in innovative ways. This influenced the way stories are told and consumed, necessitating new frameworks for analyzing how meaning is constructed in these formats. Hypertext and interactivity. The digital world brought about the concept of hypertext, where users could interact with text through hyperlinks that connected them to other pieces of content. This form of interactivity and connectivity demanded a new approach to understanding how meaning is built and conveyed. Video content and audio analysis. The proliferation of video content on platforms like YouTube and the increase in podcast popularity required incorporating visual and auditory analysis into discourse studies. Analysts now had to consider how visuals and sounds complemented or contrasted with spoken and written texts. The influence of digital technology has transformed how we understand and study communication. The rise of digital media has expanded the scope of multimodal discourse analysis, highlighting the need to examine the interplay of various modes in a digital context. This shift has led to new analytical frameworks and methodologies that can accommodate the complexities of contemporary multimodal communication. Key milestones. Kress and van Leeuwen. Gunther Kress and Theo van Leeuwen are key figures in the development of multimodality and its frameworks, particularly in the early 2000s. They made significant contributions that have shaped the way scholars analyze visual and multimodal communication. Reading Images. The Grammar of Visual Design, 1996, updated 2006. This book by Kress and van Leeuwen was a groundbreaking work that developed a systematic approach to analyzing visual communication. They drew parallels between visual communication and linguistic grammar, suggesting that visuals have their own grammar, or structured ways of conveying meaning. Their work provided a structured framework for analyzing visual design, focusing on elements like composition, modality, and framing. Multimodal Discourse: The Modes and Media of Contemporary Communication, 2001. This work extended their approach to cover the combination of different modes in communication. Kress and van Leeuwen proposed a theory that treats all modes, e.g., visuals, text, sound, gestures, as semiotic resources that carry meaning. They emphasized that meaning is not confined to one mode but is the result of the interplay between different modes. Development of social semiotics. Kress and van Leeuwen also contributed to the field of social semiotics, which explores how social contexts influence the use of different modes for communication. They emphasized that multimodality should be studied in its social context, as the choice and interpretation of different modes depend on the cultural and social norms of the communicators. Significance of their work. Frameworks for multimodal analysis. Their frameworks provided researchers with tools to systematically analyze how different modes combine to create meaning. Integration of multiple modes. They highlighted the importance of considering all forms of communication in discourse analysis, not just language. Application to digital media. Their insights have been especially relevant in the digital age, where multiple modes often interact to convey messages. Kress and van Leeuwen's work laid the foundation for multimodal discourse analysis by establishing frameworks that scholars continue to use and expand upon today. Their approach has enabled a deeper understanding of how meaning is constructed across different modes in various contexts. Conclusion. Understanding multimodality in discourse analysis reveals how various communication modes interact to shape meaning. Its origins in systemic functional linguistics and growth through digital media research highlight its significance in comprehending complex, modern communication. Frequently asked questions. What is multimodality in the context of discourse analysis? Multimodality refers to the use of multiple modes of communication, such as text, images, sounds, gestures, and spatial arrangements. It examines how these various modes interact to create and convey meaning. How does discourse analysis incorporate multimodality? Discourse analysis incorporates multimodality by exploring how different communication modes combine to convey meaning. It extends beyond traditional linguistic analysis to include visual, auditory, and spatial semiotic resources. What is the historical context of multimodal discourse analysis? Multimodal discourse analysis emerged in the late 20th century from systemic functional linguistics, building on M.A.K. Halliday's theories. It evolved further with digital technology, emphasizing the study of online and multimedia communication. How did M.A.K. Halliday influence the development of multimodal discourse analysis? M.A.K. Halliday's systemic functional linguistics provided the theoretical foundation for analyzing language in relation to social functions. His work paved the way for considering other semiotic modes beyond language in communication analysis. What role did digital technology play in the evolution of multimodal discourse analysis? Digital technology played a significant role by introducing new forms of communication like multimedia texts and online platforms. This shift increased the focus on studying how multiple modes interact in digital and multimedia contexts. Who are some key figures in the development of multimodal discourse analysis? Key figures include Gunther Kress and Theo van Leeuwen, whose work in the early 2000s established influential frameworks for analyzing visual and multimodal communication. What were the contributions of Kress and van Leeuwen to multimodal discourse analysis? Kress and van Leeuwen contributed to multimodal discourse analysis by developing frameworks for analyzing how visual and textual elements interact to create meaning. Their work highlighted the importance of visual design in communication. What are some key concepts in multimodal discourse analysis? Key concepts include mode, different types of communication, affordance, the potential uses of a mode, and multimodal ensemble, the combination of modes in communication. How does multimodal discourse analysis differ from traditional discourse analysis? Traditional discourse analysis focuses primarily on spoken or written language. Multimodal discourse analysis expands the scope to include visual, auditory, and other semiotic modes, analyzing how they collectively create meaning. Why is multimodal discourse analysis important in today's digital age? Multimodal discourse analysis is crucial in today's digital age because communication increasingly relies on various modes beyond text, such as images, videos, and sound. Understanding how these modes interact is essential for interpreting modern communication. What methodologies are used in multimodal discourse analysis? Methodologies include analyzing visual design, spatial arrangements, gestures, and sounds. Tools like visual grammar and affordance theory help analyze the interaction of different modes. How does multimodality impact our understanding of communication? Multimodality broadens our understanding of communication by highlighting how meaning is created not just through language but through the interplay of various modes. It shows the complexity of communication in different contexts. Can multimodal discourse analysis be applied to non-digital communication? Yes. Multimodal discourse analysis can be applied to non-digital communication, such as print media, face-to-face interactions, and public speeches, to analyze the interplay of verbal and non-verbal modes. How do gestures fit into multimodal discourse analysis? Gestures are considered a mode of communication that can reinforce or complement spoken language. They are analyzed in multimodal discourse analysis to understand how they contribute to meaning. What challenges exist in analyzing multimodal discourse? Challenges include the complexity of analyzing multiple modes simultaneously, the subjective interpretation of visual and auditory elements, and the evolving nature of digital communication that requires constantly updating analytical frameworks.